Hi, everyone, and welcome to this week's Frequency Intel. And thank you so much for joining me for the reading of the frequencies and the energies that are present this week that we're going to be working with. And the theme that has been coming through this week, and just knowing that we're in the Solstice gateway and we're also in the new moon in Gemini gateway, and these two energies feel like they're colliding, and it feels a little bit like we're on repeat and kind of in this loop of big, huge energies. And the theme that has been coming through is question everything. Was in a dream cycle last night, and everything that presented in the dream state, which are really, really heightened right now, really prominent for us right now. And this dream state is this ability to dream and to go into your dream state and allow the dream state to inform you, to guide you, to give you clarity, confirmation, to give you information. And my dreams last night were giving me information about the frequency intel for today. And I was so delighted to be receiving that information and to be conscious that I was receiving that information, even though the dream state was not necessarily telling me verbatim that's what I was experiencing, but I was conscious within the dream state and able to understand that I was being shown in sort of a movie-like fashion that we really need to be questioning everything that's coming into our realities at this time, and it is to give us the power to heighten our ability to trust our own intuition and to strengthen our ability to turn on our transpersonal senses and to have the ability to utilize our transpersonal senses as well as our physical senses to really navigate these huge, great changes that humanity is going through, this maturation of the species of human beings, and to guide and direct our own realities from the conscious ability to choose what it is we want to create, what it is we want to live, what it is we want to experience. And so using our powers of intuition to go beyond the surface of what's appearing in our realities, to go underneath the surface. I feel like we're being asked to dive below the surface of the ocean and explore the potentials and possibilities of what is being presented to us in our realities. And I find this super fascinating and really nourishing and heartwarming that we can open the portals of our heart and use our powers of perception to really delve into what is being presented in my reality and to ask, is this fact or is this fiction? Is this truth or is this fiction that I'm experiencing? And whether that experience is coming from our external reality or the information, the experience is coming from our internal reality, and to be able to really question both and to pay attention to ask, is this experience that I'm in this moment diverting my attention away from my center, away from my heart? Is this my mind coming in and opening information that is in the subconscious reality, that is fear-based, that is challenge-based, without any reference point for us to need to move into a challenge at this time? And then to discern, is this is this diverting my attention away from my heart center, or is it diverting my attention to my heart center? And how we can discern that is this reality, this experience that I'm having in each given moment, uplifting and nourishing me? Or is it making me feel heavy, dense, fearful, challenged in any way that is non-beneficial? And so the energies that are really present are this kind of shaking energy. And it's almost as though the universe is grabbing each one of us by the shoulder and shaking us to awaken us more fully to our knowing that we are the creators, that we are creating each and every moment, and that what is projected into our physical world, into our lived experience, is a projection of what's going on inside of us. So our physical reality, our experiences, our relationships, our ways that we're moving through the world, what's happening in our external reality is simply a projection of what's going on in our internal reality made manifest into the physical world. So this is where we can really bring this theme for the week of questioning everything. So knowing that our external reality that's appearing to us is of our own creation, and it is a portal, as this solstice portal is bringing us the ability to come into balance in our internal world, in our internal state. And that balance point is what we are moving towards as a human species. And the way that we can do this, the way that we can utilize this portal that's awakening and opening for us this week, is to use our external circumstances, our external experiences, what's really going on in our lives, to know what's going on at the subconscious level in our internal reality. And if the external projection, if what's going on in our lives is harmonic, it is life-giving, it is life-sustaining, it is nurturing, it is supportive, it feels light, and it feels like our creation energy, our potentials of creation are activated, and we're in the state of flow, and opportunities are coming to us. Experiences are coming to us. We're honoring where we are and how we feel in each and every moment. We are placing ourselves and our needs at the center of our reality, and so forth, those sorts of experiences. Then our internal reality is in alignment. Our internal reality is in alignment with our hearts. Our internal reality is in alignment with us knowing that we are so loved, that we are the creators of the world that we're living in, and that we can create any reality that we want to experience. If, however, your external reality, the things that are going on in your everyday life, the day-to-day life, have you frustrated, have you in fear, have you questioning whether you want to be on the planet or not, that's a big topic right now, then there's something out of balance in the internal state, because our subconscious program will always trump our conscious desire if they are not in alignment. So we are being given this opportunity, and I say repeat, to bring our subconscious belief structures into harmonic alignment with our souls, our hearts, conscious desires for what we want to experience and create in the world, what brings us joy and fulfillment, what brings us happiness, what brings us connection, community, experiences of joy, of peace, of internal reverence, of reverence for all life, what brings us into a state of acceptance, of observation. And so one of the ways that we can do this is to look at how our frequency is operating in each moment. And if our frequency is in a dense state, if we're shifting, if we're feeling and we're shifting our frequency and it gets denser and denser and denser, then we are in a downward spiral of frequency that is pulling us back into the old third dimensional structure of the closed loop system of how we used to create. And we've moved out of the field of awareness of the fifth dimensional reality that is the open dynamic system of potentials, of creation, of new experience, of new awareness, of new levels of consciousness. And so how do we shift out of the denser frequencies that may be presenting themselves to us in our lives? How do we access that buried subconscious information that is the denser frequencies? That is how we have been programmed to live in a truth that is not our own truth. And so how we do this is to sit with the frequency that we're in the moment, to not deny it, to not try to get out of it, but to accept where we are in each and every moment. So if you're in a denser frequency, is to sit with that denser frequency without trying to fix it, without trying to figure it out, but to actually just be present with the frequency. And this is how we access, how we hack our subconscious programming. And this is so vitally important for us to be able to come into balance and remain in the fifth dimensional bandwidth of frequency that allows us to expand, that allows us to move into new states of creation, that allows us to access new potentials of awareness, that allows us to be in resonance with what we want to be creating. It allows us to be in resonance with the frequencies of our true nature, of who we are as the unique fractal of God's source, of the unique fractal of our 0-point field, of our cosmic best friend, and to expand our ability to move into higher states of consciousness, to even move beyond the fifth dimensional frequencies, to move into the sixth and seventh dimensional frequencies, where we begin to not create out of our minds anymore, but we begin to create out of our higher consciousness, our higher knowing, and activate potentials that we have not been aware are even possible. So how to do this is to sit with the denser frequencies, to accept that's where you are, to not try to move out of it, but to melt into the beingness of being in that frequency that is presenting itself to us. And what that does is it opens the field of our subconscious mind and gives us access to the information that's there that we aren't aware of, and to bring a real depth of compassion to our experience, to our awareness, and to be in the perspective of objectivity about what is occurring. And what this does is it allows the limiting beliefs that are stored in the subconscious reality that prevent us from being in the fifth dimensional frequency and pull us back into the third dimensional frequency, and to allow the subconscious content that's there to arise into our lived experience, into our awareness, so that we can witness what is present, what is stored in our subconscious reality. And this material is the density that arises into our everyday lives, that comes as judgment, that comes as concern, that comes as a lack of feeling safe, that comes as a frequency of going into apathy or depression, or some of these denser energies of going into believing that nothing will ever change. And none of these are true. These are the lies that we have at some point in some way made an agreement with to believe were true in order to comply with the system that we were in when we were being in that state of being programmed. And so to move into this softness of being with what's arising in our subconscious awareness, and to allow it to inform us, not to believe the lies, not to believe what our mind is telling us, not to believe these limiting beliefs that are arising, but just to listen and accept them without attachment to them, without going into the story of them or the story that the mind wants to create to support this old limiting belief. And then to begin to surround and infuse this knowing, this awareness, this information, this content of the subconscious mind with the frequency of presence, with the frequency of unconditional love, with the frequency of complete non-judgment, as though you are meeting a newborn part of you for the first time, and swaddling them in the tenderness of your most benevolent heart. And what that will do is it will allow the frequencies, the energies, the belief systems, the limiting belief systems that are stored in the subconscious to begin to dissolve, because they are not real. They are not true. They are the miasm or the mesmerization that we were programmed with, that kept us in that limiting belief system, that kept us in the box, that kept us in the program and condition of the old third dimensional system of cause and effect, of the old third dimensional system of loyalty contracts to others outside of the self, outside of yourself, that cause us to place other people's needs, other people's wants, other people's desires ahead of our own, to the detriment of ourselves. And so allowing these old judgments, these old limiting beliefs, these old constructs or concepts that are no longer serving us to arise and to be held in this state of complete reverence and acceptance, and infusing them with the frequency of love, will allow them to dissolve out of our field of awareness. And that allows us to raise our frequency back into the exalted state of knowing ourselves as oneness, knowing ourselves as the lightness of spirit. And I love this alchemical process of lightening. And we can think of that process as a beautiful, beneficent frequency in the field of alchemy to support us in these transformations that we're waking up into and going through. You can think of it as the Saturnian energy in this portal that we're in, because Saturn and Pisces are working together right now. And these two energies, the energy of Pisces is this illusory energy where things become foggy. And that's what we are being supported with in this solstice portal, is to question everything, to discern, is this true, or is this an illusion that I need to release and let go of? And that's why I wanted to share this process, this practice that I use of sitting with the denser frequencies and accepting and allowing them to come into awareness, to come into knowing, to accept that they are part of how we have lived on this planet up until this point, and knowing that we don't want to live with subconscious programming creating our external reality any longer, that we want to be fully conscious, fully aware as the divine creators that we are, and stepping into our authentic power and creating worlds within worlds that bring us into the field of delight, of fulfillment, of joy, of awareness, of satisfaction, of contribution. And we all know how good it feels to know that we have contributed, that we have elevated another person's frequency just by being in our own authentic frequency of love. That the power of love to transport us into these beautiful states of awareness of what is possible that we haven't been aware of is an intoxicant that I am signing up for, and that I want to invite all of us into, this lightness of spirit that helps us move into knowing ourselves as so loving and so powerful, and that the power of love is the most potent power on the face of the earth, and that it will dissolve anything in its wake. So staying in that frequency of love is the most useful thing that you can do with your time and your resources, your focus, your attention, and your awareness. And so the strategy for working with this energy this week of questioning everything and the shaking that's happening in our realities, and I feel like the universe is shaking each and every one of us, and things are shaking up big. It's like we're either in shock of the shaking that's happening in our life, or we're in amazement. And neither one is preferred over the other. If we're in shock, like if things are dissolving out of our reality and we feel really out of control, then dissolving into, melting into that feeling of being out of control and moving into saying, I have no idea what's going on, but I know that the result of what is happening in my life, of these big, huge transition points, is leading me into my oneness with all of life, my knowing myself as love, as the most potent, benefic, transformational power on the planet. And it is helping me attain the knowing, the conscious awareness of my own greatest potential in each and every moment. And that is where we're headed. That's where we're going. And to take the time this week, I want to encourage all of us to clear anything off of your calendar that is not absolutely 100% essential, and making more and more and more space to sit in this space of observing what is happening in my external reality and how is it reflecting my internal reality. Because the more we give ourselves permission to do this work, to do this internal work, the more we become aligned with ourselves as love. the more we then have the capacity to step into these beautiful roles of service that we're all called to, that we are all called to be of service in some way on this planet. In this great awakening of humanity back into a golden age, back into the original blueprint of human potential. And that is the greatest fulfillment that we can be in. And so the more that we give ourselves space, the more that we take time to do this work, the more that we create space to pay attention to what's being presented to us, and then do this work of dissolving the dense frequencies in the subconscious program from the limiting belief structures. That way we move into supportive, affirmative belief structures that are aligned with our true nature. The more we become our most authentic selves, the more that we activate the potentials of awakening on the planet, because we radiate the frequency of awakeness. And that is in the bandwidth of frequency of being of service to humanity. So we are in this looping structure, and we are refining our own ways. I'm just presenting you one way of doing this. You may have a beautiful way that is so supportive to you, and I highly encourage you to use what is most beneficial to you. And I'm sharing with you what has been of benefit to me as a catalyst to awaken the keys of awareness, the knowing inside of you of how you move through this transformation from limiting belief systems to awaken powerful, supportive belief systems that are aligned to our true selves. And moving our power of reflection into the forefront of our awareness is a very potent way to work with the energies that were being presented this week, and to take advantage of this portal of the solstice energy, of allowing us to come into this beautiful state of balance. And the more that we spend time in the frequency of balance, internal balance, the more familiar it becomes, the more we create it. The more that we take advantage of these looping energies, these looping structures, to anchor our frequencies into the fifth dimensional frequencies and above, the more we become the catalyst for the change that we want to experience, and the experiences that we want to have in reverence and love, in unconditional, limitless, timeless love. The more we access what is possible here on earth for us to be experiencing. And so I want to just tap into the frequencies of love and encouragement that are here supporting us. And one of the ways to do that is to turn on our ability of imagination and play, and call in our entourage of light, the beings of light who love us unconditionally in non-physical form, because they have more ability to amplify the field of awareness around us, to hold the frequency of compassion around us while we do this really deep dive work into our subconscious program, to completely dissolve anything that is limiting or untrue, so that our subconscious mind is completely in alignment with our true self, with our superconscious self. And so I want to remind us all that there is no destination. So to let go of the need for, if I do this, then I'll get there, because that takes us back into the old third dimensional structure of cause and effect. It pulls us out of the higher frequency of the fifth dimensional frequency and of limitless potential, and moves us back into, well, if I do this, then I'll get that. So to anchor in the knowing that there is no destination, that is one of the most potent false fields of awareness, limiting belief systems that we were trained in. And one of those things that is really coming to mind right now is competition. Is one of the ways that we were trained to believe that there's a destination to get to, and that time is limited and it's going to run out if I don't hurry up and get it done. That takes us out of this open, expansive energy of making time for ourselves to be in observation without doing anything. So I want to encourage us all to remember there is no destination, that you are a timeless, limitless fractal of divine source consciousness, that you are a soul, you are an infinite soul with infinite potential on an infinite journey. Let's take that in. I am an infinite soul with infinite potential on an infinite journey. There is no time and there is no destination that I have to stay within in order to make anything happen. So we are exploring what is essential and what is non-essential, that I want to use my power of love, my power of acceptance, my power of being able to be with any aspect of myself and love it back into wholeness. So we are in this beautiful frequency of being in discernment of what is essential in my life at this time and what isn't, and utilizing our own internal wisdom to dissolve what isn't essential and to amplify the frequency of what is essential to us into our field of awareness so we become magnetic to it. So I feel like that's everything that wants to be shared this week. I hope that this information, this awareness, this transmission has been beneficial to you in some way. I hope that your heart has been opened to your own love, your own light in some way with this transmission, this frequency of love. And if you would love to have more support, there are free resources on my website at pencelightcom that are available there, and I will be uploading more content to my offerings page. That's where you can find the free resources that have already been created, and I hope that you will utilize those resources in whatever way is beneficial to you. I am here with you. I'm walking through these same portals with as much presence, as much awareness as I can. And I wanted to share one more thing with you that's a personal share, and that is that last week I did not film a frequency intel for last Sunday for last week, and I was walking through a big initiation last weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and when I got up on Sunday morning, I knew that I was not fully resourced enough to show up in love and support of myself, much less anyone else at that time. And so it was really a challenging experience for me, because my old program in my subconscious is to push through when I'm not fully resourced and to show up anyway. And I had the opportunity last week on Sunday to say no more. I am not doing that anymore. I am not pushing myself beyond my self-resource limits any longer from my old programming of, if you don't show up, there's something wrong with you. You're a failure. And I said, no, that is a limiting belief. And I am going to honor where I am in this moment. And I'm going to let it go that I'm not doing the frequency intel this morning, and I'm not fulfilling the algorithms of the platforms, of the systems that I put things up on. And I chose to be with me instead. I chose to show up for me and where I was in that moment. And I knew that by doing that, I was going to be sending that structure out, that frequency out into the field, that it's more important for me to show up for me when I'm depleted and I'm going through my own initiation and I have nothing to give. And I'm not going to create something to give simply to show up in a false belief system that I have to, that I need to, that people are depending on me. All of the old structures of my mind that want to make me more important than I actually am to other people. And I showed up for me. And I did have people reach out and say, hey, is everything okay? I didn't see a frequency intel come out this week. And I can't tell you how heart expanding that was to receive messages from people saying, hey, these frequency intel are really supporting me right now. Where are you? And I got to share with them that I actually wasn't capable of doing that last week, that I am human, and that I honor my humanness just as much as I honor my divinity. And I'm not overriding either one of those aspects of myself any longer. I'm actually doing the real work to bring them into balance, to bring myself into wholeness, and to live and vibrate at the frequency of the fifth dimension, so that is what I'm radiating out into the field of awareness. That is what I am contributing to the collective consciousness. So thank you for listening all the way through to the end of this intel. I love each and every one of you beyond measure, and I am so grateful for your contribution to your participation in these frequency intel. They really support me in being able to deliver this content, to deliver this soul wisdom, these wisdom drops that come through. So thank you. I love and adore you. I hope you have a really gentle week and that you are loyal to you this week. All right, much love. Bye for now. Mwah.